Tem um momento na carreira que precisamos dar um passo além. É hora de fazer uma pós-graduação. Só que muitas vezes o custo pesa no bolso, inviabilizando tudo. Com a pós-graduação do Senac, você não tem esse problema. Cursos com até 50% de desconto e muito mais tempo para pagar. TCC opcional, modelo flexível com aulas presenciais e online e alguns cursos com apenas 12 meses de duração. Não tem mais desculpa, hein? Saiba mais em sp.senac.br/pós-graduação.
Check this out.
No one knows New York better. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa.
And you can't compete against that.
On 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Vision, dreams of passion. And all the while I think of you. A very strange reaction. The more I see, the more I do. Baby, tell your body to come along, but white lights blow away. Blow, rock it, blow. Ticket to ride, White Line Highway. Tell all your friends they can go my way. Pay your toll, sell your soul. Pound for pound, costs more than gold. The longer you stay, the more you pay. My white lines go a long way, either up your nose or through your vein, with nothing to gain except killing your brain. Higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. And don't ever come down. Pure as the driven snow.
We love that snow. Hunter Biden put out the lines of cocaine. White lines by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Smoke that crack. You know it's whack. Get that gun. Yeah, what is he wearing? His BVDs? His skivvies? What a freak. Let me hear white lines.
$1 million, almost overnight. Twice as sweet as sugar, twice as bitter as salt. And if you get hooked, baby, it's nobody else's fault, so don't do it.
Nobody's done more white lines. Half of Colombia went up the nose of Hunter Biden. The other half, from Medellin, he beamed himself up to Scotty by smoking those rocks of cocaine, crack. The crackhead has just been given a pardon.
Breaking news, WABC.
And it was always rumored that Donald Trump, once he would be sworn in as president of the United States on January 20th, might actually decide to pardon Hunter Biden. Joe Biden has decided, I'm not waiting. Last time he got elected president, he was screaming, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. Hillary Rodham Clinton, 2016, and then he told the crowd, the MAGA crowd, no. It's okay. We'll leave Bill and Hillary alone. So you're Joe Biden. You're hedging your bet. You assume that President Donald Trump, upon gaining into office, Nancy, would do the right thing by his son and pardon him. All signals were that, in fact, Donald Trump might do that.
Yeah, but why take your chances, right?
So what happened earlier today after they had their turkey And by the way, did they ever figure out whose cocaine that was that they found in the White House?
It's still under investigation.
I mean, Greg Kelly was obsessed with that for like weeks.
I think that's the least of their problems in the White House.
And the Secret Service would not do any kind of toxicology report to indicate whose DNA might have been on that cocaine. Now, remember, you had the Biden kids who were both crackheads. Obviously, Hunter worse than the daughter. But both of them had used cocaine. Both of them had used crack. This first hour is going to be the druggy hour, because then we're talking about RFK Jr. talking about how when you use heroin, you do better in school. At least it worked for him.
And I've never heard that, but...
Yeah, he's going to be in charge of the National Institute of Health, according to Donald Trump. But anyway, the lead story is that President Biden has reversed himself. He has done a pivot and shift. That's why I never trust any politicians. Ladies and gentlemen, and if you trust any politicians, you're a freaking fool. They do this all the time. They lie, they lie, they lie. Both sides, when it's convenient to their side. In this case, Joe Biden does not want Hunter Biden giving up any of the secrets about where the millions of dollars from the Ukraine and Red China went and Uzbekistan. So he has decided, I got to save my ass in retirement. Because knowing Donald Trump with all these folks that he's putting in charge, like Patel in charge of the FBI, and oh my God, Bondi, who's going to be the Attorney General from Florida, I don't believe that they're going to pardon my son, that he's going to pardon my son. So he preemptively pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. Gun charge, drug charge, money laundering charge, you name it. They could have hit Hunter Biden with about 18 different charges. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of the politicians of America who straight-faced will look into a camera? I will not pardon my son. I will not give him a commutation. 1,000 times no, I won't. And then just hours ago, he's pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. Basically, forgiving him for all of his sins, his multiple sins. Our number is 1-800-848-9222.
Yeah, and I'm thinking based on some of those videos, maybe one of the charges would be indecent exposure.
Yeah. And by the way, pedophilia.
Yeah, there was a lot of skin in those videos for some reason.
Some of those younger ladies look like a little too young to me. But naturally, they didn't want to go there. Most of the people who revealed those pictures decided, well, we got him on enough stuff here. He's smoking crack. He's playing Russian roulette with his girlfriend. He's wearing female panties. He's dancing and prancing around. He's a stone cold crackhead. He's robbed millions of dollars, taking advantage of the access that his father had on Air Force Two as the vice president of the United States under Barack Obama, traveling to Uzbekistan, traveling to the Ukraine, traveling to Red China, and making multi-million-dollar deals.
Yeah, who's involved in that vetting process there?
But Joe Biden has decided to pardon his son. And I just
Hasn't he suffered enough, though, really?
Oh, yeah, he suffered enough.
It's enough. It's enough already.
Enough.
Stop.
People are stunned here. They can't believe it. It's like we're just winding up the Thanksgiving Day weekend, and I got agita, not from the turkey, not from the sweet potatoes or the potatoes or the stovetop stuffing or the rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. I got agita just seeing our political process. What a slap in our face.
We may need to read the fine lines, though. I'm not sure if he qualifies to actually give a pardon at this point, right? Because he bowed out at the election. Maybe there's some technicality.
No, he does. He has the power of pardon. That's what Eric Adams is doing somersaults right now. He said, what? You can pardon somebody before they even go to trial? It's incredible. Maybe President Donald Trump, you can pardon me too? Could you announce that tomorrow? Oh, wait, you got to wait till he's sworn into office to do that. Oh, January 21st, you can pardon me. There's something wrong with this pardon process. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Now it's getting to the point where it's clearly abusive. You can pardon yourself. You can pardon your family members. You can pardon everybody. Why should a president have the right to pardon anybody or give a commutation? I mean, let's be real here. I'd like for somebody out there to answer me this. And I know you Trumpers are going to say, well, he's earned the right. No. Put that aside. Why do we give the president of the United States an opportunity to pardon people, to give commutations, in which they're just going to take care of their own cronies, whoever donated to them? I mean, Bill Clinton did that. He wrote more pardons than anyone else. He was binging on Twinkies. Right? He said, I was drinking coffee and binging on Twinkies, and I just kept writing them pardons. All those ladies that had done me favors over the years, their husbands have been in trouble, I gave them a pardon. Business relationships, I gave them a pardon. What is this? Biden pardons his son, Hunter? This is like when Bill Clinton said, I did not have sex with that woman, right? No, that's nothing compared to this. Joe Biden stared in that camera. Mr. President, are you contemplating giving a pardon to your son? Absolutely not. What about a commutation? No way. Absolutely not. You could put a gun to my head. I won't do it. What happened after they played with the wishbone, on Thanksgiving? By the way, did they have those turkeys that they gave a commutation to? Now, I understand you give a commutation to the turkeys, the butterball turkeys, because you allow them to live. That's part of the presidential rite of passage. You pardon turkeys. But oh my God, what is the justification here? I pardon my sons, my parents, my friends, my contributors. Me, I, me, I. What the hell? I cannot imagine that our founding fathers ever assumed the presidents would go to this extent. Biden pardons his son, Hunter.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
Could I hear that again, please? It doesn't matter. They lie, all these politicians. They can look in the mirror and no better liars in the world than politicians.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
I wish he had been strapped to a lie detector machine. Joe Biden would have been blown to kingdom come. By the way, do we have that cut where Hunter Biden was talking about how pleasurable it was to be down on all fours, scratching on the floor for particuli, a crack, so he would beam himself up to Scotty in the glass pipe, the rocks of crack cocaine one more time.
I spent more time on my hands and knees, picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know.
And he's laughing. He's laughing at us. They're all laughing at us. Let me hear that one more time, because that is the sign of a crackhead. I've seen crackheads out in a park, and they're like a chicken, scratching for a little bit of the grain that's put down. And they're like scratching for any particuli they can to put up in their glass pipe and beam themselves up to Scotty.
I spent more time on my hands and knees, picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know.
And remember, this was all part of a Russian disinformation campaign, Nancy. 51 members of the national security apparatus had written a letter saying that, yes, Donald Trump was involved with the Russians, with Putin, with Russian agents, and he could not be trusted. And that laptop was in fact part of Russian disinformation to affect the result of the campaign, the outcome of the campaign. That's right. That's right. Well, it turned out what Rudy Giuliani got his hands on, along with Bernard Kerik, when they picked it up from that repair shop, a blind guy's repair shop. That was the other thing, wearing that Irish walking cap. He brings his 2 laptops, Hunter Biden, to a blind guy, a sight-challenged guy, to fix the computers.
Wait, what? Really?
Yes. He never comes back for the computers. After a while, it's no longer his. Swears it's not. It's Russian disinformation. That, in fact, this is just an attempt to usurp the United States. And then eventually, in court, he had to admit the United States government, the Department of Justice, yes, it was his laptop. Pictures and all. Decadent, debaucherous, underage girls, guns, crack, and he was wearing those little skivvies. I wonder, he looked like Dylan Mulvaney in some of those pictures, like you were wondering who is more of a transsexual, Dylan Mulvaney, the Bud Light influencer, or Hunter Biden. And they paraded Hunter Biden out there. And he was at the art gallery, remember, painting art. We know. What art? The guy's a crackhead. Oh, that's Matisse. I'm going to pay $500,000. Oh, that was a way to give him money. Friends of Joe Biden. Please, do me a favor. You go over there, buy one of his paintings at that artsy-fartsy art gallery in Soho, and I will be so grateful to you. Did you know that initiative you have before the National Security Council? Hey, it's green lighted. Boom, $500,000 cash. His art was almost as good as the cryptocurrency bandit who bought that 36-cent banana and duct taped it to the wall and then paid, what, $6 million for it? That's art. That's art. This is unbelievable. Joe Biden said, I hope Americans will understand. Could I hear that again? Joe Biden being quizzed, staring at that camera, lying his ass off. I will not pardon my son.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
I mean, his defense, he really didn't sound very cognizant.
He never did. Oh, my God. Now, Democrats lie, Republicans lie too. Let's not, it's an equal opportunity lying situation. You figure, I lie, what the hell, why should the people have a right to know? Right? We're entitled. We're politicians. We've been elected to office. We serve you. We are selfless servants. This guy took millions and millions of dollars in Red China for schemes. Millions of dollars. Burisma in the Ukraine, he was on the board of directors. He knew nothing about energy development. They were buying influence. Uzbekistan, probably Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, all the stands. You have money. I travel in Air Force 2 with Daddy. Mr. Big, remember? Mr. Big. I thought Mr. Big was in Sex and the City, right?
I think there is a Mr. Big in that.
This is unbelievable. Our number is 1-800-848-9222. That's 1-800-848-WABC. One more time, I want to score the trifecta, the Trinity, the Troika. In true crackhead form, Hunter Biden describing what I have seen crackheads do over the years. They'll be in a park, they'll be scratching away like roosters, looking for those last pieces of corn that they can digest before they become a Purdue stuffer.
I spent more time on my hands and knees, picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know.
Bass.
have been sentenced this month on gun charges and tax charges. Got to pay your taxes, Hunter, I know. Elected officials and their family members probably fantasize to themselves, why do we have to pay taxes? Only little people pay taxes. Remember what Leona Helmsley said? Only the little people pay taxes, Hunter.
That's true.
But remember, we were told, don't worry about it. Trump is going to pardon him. He's just got to be sworn into office. He is going to set a new tone in America. He is going to pardon Hunter Biden.
Yeah, and I don't think this had anything to do with Hunter Biden. I'm pretty sure it's like all of the interest that he stands to expose. They're like, you better pardon this kid quickly.
By the way, whose cocaine was that they found in the White House, right? What was that, the West Wing? Whose cocaine was that? They never did a DNA test?
I mean, does it really matter at this point?
Well, the over-under, well, Greg Kelly was obsessed with that. I mean, for months.
I'm pretty sure it flows in the White House, like, all the time. I don't think it's an issue.
I mean, remember, and this one was a little tricky. I mean, all eyes were saying, oh, it's Hunter. But the daughter herself had her own cocaine problems. And we know Secret Service agents went on assignment in Colombia and basically snorted up half the cocaine in Cali in Colombia when they were the advance team for Barack Obama, and they were like plying themselves with hookers, and the only reason they got ratted out is they didn't pay the hookers, and the hookers reported them, and they lost their jobs. Other than that, they would have been doing all the cocaine, having all their fun with hookers.
Well, I'm pretty sure we can rule out Joe Biden at this point.
Well,
given his outward demeanor,
I don't know. Next.
Yeah, I don't think he does anything.
Don't you really feel? You know, some people out there will say, oh, you know, it's his son. Show some empathy. Show some sympathy. No, this guy's a thief. He's a crook.
No, yeah, with all the advantages that you have, like this is the best that you could produce with your kid. Like, yeah, you might want to reconsider.
Well, like father, like son, right?
Yeah, but at least he's he has some stature to him. His son's just a total derelict.
And Joe Biden is begging the American public, please understand, he's my son. I had to pardon him. No, you didn't. No, you didn't have to pardon him. No, you didn't. Our number is 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Ken in Westchester. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Kenny.
You two dumb Polacks. Go.
Oh, no, Jonas. The hell, man? What, he put a can of corn in your ears?
Polacks?
What, you got cauliflower ears, Jonas?
Polish people are very bright.
My God. Anyway, let's go to Charlie in New York. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Charlie.
Yeah, so to answer your question that you asked earlier, you said, where does the pardon power come from in our Constitution? When the Founding Fathers were writing it up, it stems from the power of the king, the power of the monarch that they had. It was absolute. There was one thing a monarch could do for a citizen or to a citizen is pardon them and basically wipe away all their crimes.
Now, hold on a second, Charlie. Did we not break with the monarchy?
Yes, we did with our own War of Independence, our Revolutionary War, but with the Constitution, we took that part of their governing and we put that and we incorporated that into our own Constitution. Right,
but didn't Alexander Hamilton beseech George Washington to become a monarch? Well, didn't George Washington say no 1,000 times no? I'm going back to Mount Vernon. And it was not in Westchester, right. Mount Vernon in Virginia. I'm going back to my farm in Virginia, to my wife. I will not be the king.
Right. He voluntarily surrendered his office after 2 terms. And that was huge. That was magnificent. That was like heard around the world. Nobody thought that he would do that. All the other world leaders were surprised. And we didn't have a president exceed the 2 terms until FDR.
Do you remember? I want to sort of tap your memory here. Do you remember? There was a lady, very friendly with Bill Clinton, was known for writing music, whose husband was indicted and would not come back to the United States. Stayed in Israel. There was no extradition treaty at that time. And remember, when Bill Clinton was binging away on Twinkies and drinking Jolt Cola to stay awake late at night to keep writing those pardons as if it was an assembly line. You remember what that lady's name was?
No, but I know who you're talking about. Names on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember.
Yeah, well, there's so many women that he was snacking on, it's kind of hard to remember them all.
I didn't want to say anything in front of your wife, man.
But that was true. That was true. He was having sex with this woman while her husband was refusing to come back to the United States and face charges. He had dual citizenship. They could not extradite him from Israel. And
because he had the dual citizenship. I do remember that.
And selling weapons, if I remember correctly, selling weapons to Iran.
I don't remember the specifics of the charges, but I remember that.
Boy, you know, Charlie, you remember only what you want to remember. You remember only what you want to remember on that one. I remember Bill Clinton was like on Adderall, Ritalin, writing them up pardons. He wrote more pardons, more script than any president in the history of the White House. This has got to be curtailed. Like everything else, things can be curtailed just because our forefathers said the president could issue pardons and commutations. Man, this is nonsense. How are you allowed? That would be like Donald Trump gets into office. He has a right to pardon himself. Pardon himself in the Alvin Bragg case. Judge Marchant, hey, we may throw him in jail after he finishes the 4 years. Lawfare, ridiculous. But believe it or not, he has the right to pardon himself. This is nuts.
That's convenient.
I mean, think of it. My family is in trouble, okay? My uncle is a money launderer. My brother, the Biden brothers, oh my God, they should have been locked up. This makes me want to take a hot shower. I feel violated. Especially when I remember Rudy gets the laptop with Bernie Kerik. They go to Delaware. They get it from the repair shop because now, after a period of time that has elapsed, even if Hunter Biden wanted the laptop, he couldn't come get the laptop because it belongs to the repair shop guy. That's how stoned the guy was. He forgot he had left 2 laptops, never mind one. Rudy goes to the U.S. attorney in Pittsburgh. Bill Barr will not do anything about it in Washington, Department of Justice. He goes to the state troopers in Delaware with Bernie Kerik. They will not do anything with it. He even tried a few other locations, if my memory serves me correct. No media outlet would publish the results except the New York Post. Miranda Devine, great job in reporting. And then remember Zuckerberg, who was just kissing the ring of Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago. Oh, forgive me, Donald, I have sinned. Please. I know you said you would put me in Gitmo. Please forgive me, I have sinned. Remember, he would not publish online on Facebook at that time the New York Post. The New York Post was banned from social networking.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So the New York Post, the most widely read tabloid in the world, you could not read it on any social networking other than their own online edition.
That's sad.
Please, I didn't mean it. Donald, please, I beg you, don't put me in Gitmo. I'll be like Meta World Peace, like Ron Artest. I'll go to a shrink. I'll convert. I'll become a Republican. Please. Zuckerberg, little bitch. Yeah, he is. Come on, look at them. They're all schlepping down to Mar-a-Lago, begging for dispensation. Oh, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. They made me do it. How could they make you do it? Well, I really wanted to do it, but I got to act a part now, you know. I got billions of dollars at stake here. I don't want to be like Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. All of a sudden, I'm the Maytag in a cell at the MDC with P. Diddy. No, 1,000 times no, please. Oh, I would have loved to have been in Mar-a-Lago and watched the Zuck grovel. Our number is 1-800-848-9222.
WABC.
Eden Memorial Chapels understands Jewish funerals can take many forms. Some are Orthodox, while others are more conservative or of a Reformed nature. There's no one better. With services close to all New York and New Jersey cemeteries, Eden Memorial Chapels offer fair and balanced pricing and can provide easy transfer of you and your loved ones to Israel. While you're grieving, they're here to take care of all the details so that you deal with less bureaucracy and have more peace of mind. Go to EdenMemorial.com. That's EdenMemorial.com.
New Life Center NYC is a leading integrative med spa on beautiful Madison Avenue in the heart of New York City. New Life Center has been championing ageless living for over 25 years. Their expert team will design a personalized health and wellness program just for you, using cutting-edge technologies and specialized supplements. Experience the future of medicine at New Life Center. Call 917-723-8933 now to book your appointment. That's 917-723-8933. Call now to discover ageless living at New Life Center NYC. New York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
You freaking animal, Hunter Biden. Crackhead, degenerate, took advantage of so many people because you thought you were entitled. And then you thought you were Matisse. You should have been Van Gogh and cut your ear off. And you call that art and they give you $500,000 in cash? That was a payoff, pal, and you knew it. You bamboozled everybody. This song by Def Leppard is dedicated to you, Hunter. Now that you're free, footloose and fancy free. You animal. Then you're having sex with your brother's wife. Your brother dying of brain cancer. You despicable. Blankety blank blank blank. Where's George Carlin now? He'll have to stop me from losing this job with the FCC. I feel soiled. I feel like I have to take a hot shower now. Every conceivable barbaric, inhumane thing that could ever be done was done by Hunter. And his father, Biden, just enabled him. The enabler-in-chief, Joe Biden. Let's go to the phones. It's Mike in New Jersey. Your turn to be heard here. WABC, Mike.
Curtis Magumbari Cheech, how you doing?
Not too good.
Listen, Curtis, I agree with you about 99% of the time with fellow Canostians, you know what I'm saying? The thing is that, he has the power of the pardon. It's his kid. I understand it. I mean, it's corrupt. He's corrupt. He doesn't want all this stuff to come out. Granted, it's all true, but this is what it is, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't pardon this kid, I'd be shocked.
Now,
if it was your kid, you'd pardon your kid too, man. I mean, I don't know what you want.
Well, wait a second. We have a figure in history who had that choice to make. Which part of New Jersey do you live in?
I live in Ocean County.
Okay, know it well. Trenton, New Jersey. was where the royal governor of New Jersey was answerable to the king during the American Revolution. Do you know who the royal governor of New Jersey was?
No.
Part of the British Crown.
Nope.
Benjamin Franklin's son. Benjamin Franklin's son was given orders by the king, if necessary, cross the Delaware River into Philadelphia, where his father was, with the Continental Congress, and hang him from the nearest tree. Chop his head off and send it back on the first ships going back to Liverpool. You know what his son said?
No.
Yes, my king. So at the end of the war, Benjamin Franklin's son was in the stockade. And they said, do you want us to pardon your son now that the war is over and the colonies are free of British tyranny? He said, let my son rot in hell. Benjamin Franklin did not pardon his son. There is history to this.
It's about 250 years ago, but in 250 years, nothing's happened since.
Well, wait a second. Aren't we basing the whole right of pardon and commutation on what the founding fathers built into the Constitution?
And it's Benjamin Franklin was part of the writing that whole entire bill.
Founding father, right? Discovered electricity. Well, remember the kite with the key? Remember that?
Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, there is no rules in that say you can't pardon your son, even if he's a slime bucket, low life piece of garbage.
But there is precedent in our history at the very beginning of our nation. Benjamin Franklin could have released his son from the stockade. His son was more than happy to carry out the orders of the king to find his father in Philadelphia, hang him from the nearest tree, chop his head off, put it in a box, and send it back on the next ship going to Liverpool. Yes, my king. His father was well aware of that. At the end of the war, they said, okay, we've won. We're releasing British troops. Amongst the British troops in the stockade is your son. Let him rot in hell. Right on. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Sandra.
Oh, good evening, Curtis. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I was thinking, come on, Curtis. This is his son. First of all, family comes first. Second of all, I agree with all the stuff that went on, the enabling and all that stuff all through the years. That should have been stopped a long time ago, but it is what it is. And also I say to myself, Biden got screwed by the Democrats. He's fed up. He doesn't care anymore. So let him do what he has to do.
How did he get screwed by the Democrats? Could you explain this to me?
Well, they put Kamala to run for president, and they kicked him out. You know that.
Sandra, did you see him melt down in that debate against Donald Trump? There wouldn't have been a contest. He wouldn't have been able to go out and campaign. Sandra,
Curtis, I don't agree with you. If you watched Kamala all this time, he would have been better. He wasn't so bad.
Sandra.
What? Yeah.
He couldn't tell a story without lying. What are you talking about, Sandra? Every week.
I'm not sticking up for him. I don't care for him in any way whatsoever.
What is this newfound respect and love for Joe Biden? Oh, they arrested me in South Africa. We were on our way to see Nelson Mandela.
You want to know something? I bet if he didn't pardon his son, I bet Donald Trump might have. We don't even know what went on in that discussion. But all I'm saying to you is let's be real here. This is his son. He loves his son, and he'll do anything he can.
So let me ask you a question. You don't think that's an abuse of power?
I'm trying to say they screwed him a little bit. So
no. Sandra, wake up. He screwed us for 4 freaking years.
I know. I know he
And you
did,
feel
very much
sorry
so.
for this guy who opened up our borders and allowed a full-scale invasion? What the hell is wrong with you?
Curtis, you're missing what I'm saying. I think everything that happened these past 4 years was painful. We all suffered.
Oh, you're a masochist. You're a real masochist. This guy might as well have come in, eaten all the food in your house, tied you up, let you starve to death. Well, you know, they screwed him over because they had Kamala run. Yeah, like Trump would have welcomed Joe Biden. It would have been a coronation. What is wrong with you people? They screwed him over. How did they screw Joe Biden over? He couldn't function. He couldn't function. He couldn't even debate. Do you not remember that? They should have taken him out in a straitjacket and sent him to a sanitarium there. Instead, where did he go? Waffle House. And he came alive. Oh, God, I wonder about you people. I wonder what is wrong with you. Let's go to David in Pennsylvania. Your turn to be heard here at WABC. David.
Curse. Anybody that can justify Biden and his son is morally reprehensible. And another thing, throw some sugar on it. Put some sugar on me and divide it up into lines. But that's not why I called. You know that lately people have been saying, what's up with Kamala in these videos? Is she on something? Is there something wrong with her? Well, I happen to know somebody that's versed in the habits of cocaine, and she displays these habits in her videos with her nose. She's sniffing, she's grabbing for her nose. The cocaine.
Wait.
It's not off the table. She's a suspect.
There you go.
So you think maybe that bag of cocaine they found in the White House was Kamala Harris?
I think it's absolutely possible. It's not off the table. It was never investigated. Like they never investigate anything this corrupt Justice Department, FBI, CIA. So it's on the table.
So
thank you very much.
Hold on a second, David. Hypothetically,
Yes,
we'd pour out a line of cocaine, and everybody at the table has a straw. Hunter Biden, Kamala Harris. Who puts the straw in the powder first?
Well, first of all, Hunter's not at the table. He's on the floor with the Parmesan cheese.
I spent more time on my hands and knees picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know.
You think it was Kraft Parmesan cheese, David?
Well, this is typically what a rat does. If he can't eat it, he smokes it.
And now,
so what do you think of that? What do you think of that?
Now, David, now you know why I say never trust any politicians. Never.
Obviously not.
They lie and lie and lie, and they look right in that camera. They should get the Academy Award. Can I hear Joe Biden again swear, I'm not pardoning Hunter?
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
Come on, he doesn't even sound like he knows what he's answering the question to.
Oh, my God.
Like, I actually, no, in that respect, I have to say, like, I think he probably didn't know what he was answering.
But, you know, Donald Trump is upset because he wanted to pardon Hunter and show, let bygones be bygones, right? You know, I'm setting a new tone here. No. In addition, Biden wasn't going to give him that ability to say, you see, I have a heart. I'm empathetic. I'm sympathetic. You know, I'm going to pardon your son because you welcomed me into the White House and we had a good time for 2 hours. Oh, my God.
That's worthy of a pardon?
Give me the vomit bag. 1-800-848-9222.
Don't you get too high, baby. You really turn me on and on.
WABC.
New York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Fun, baby.
Rudy had the laptop with Bernard Kerik. They shopped it around. They brought it to Bill Barr, the U.S. attorney in the Trump administration, who would not do anything with it. Eventually, they brought it to the New York Post. Bravely, they let Miranda Devine start writing stories about it. And then the social networking Silicon Valley mob determined nobody should ever see what was on that laptop because it was Russian disinformation. You think that maybe as part of this pardon, Joe Biden should be forced to apologize for all the people who exposed what he and his son did, and using the power of the vice presidency to enrich themselves in Red China, in the Ukraine, in Uzbekistan, probably Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Kurdistan too, right? Probably.
Well, now that he's pardoned, can we just make the laptop public?
Well, it is.
I'd like to see that.
Pretty much it is. Certain parts have been kept from the public.
Is there a lot of selfies that like nude selfies?
Well, there are pictures of underage girls.
No, I'm talking about him. Like he seems to like take a lot of pictures of himself in the mirror.
Oh God, with guns.
He's very proud of himself.
And he likes to wear those little skivvies. He looks like a Dylan Mulvaney there. I think Dylan packs more in his...
I'm not sure what he's seeing in the mirror, but he's very impressed with himself.
I think Dylan Mulvaney packs more in her little package down there than Hunter Biden. And then remember, he was dancing around. It's like, God, what a sickola. First class sickola. Oh, my God. Let's go, if we can, to Tony, who's calling from Westchester. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Tony.
Hey, Curtis. So good to talk to you. First, I want to say I wish you were the mayor of New York City. What a travesty. You just know what's going on, and you're so smart, and, you know, your heart beats me. Or anyway, the thing about Hunter is, like, where does it start that nobody's above the law? This says, hey, if you're, you know, whoever you are, you're above the law. And Trump has nothing to, Trump supporter, Trump has nothing to prove. He let Hillary go after all she did to him. And it's just disgusting.
Look, straight up, you've heard it from enough people that politics is the dirtiest thing in the world, and it is. Dana White, UFC, assisted Donald Trump in winning the presidential race, was there with him, side by side with him, like so many others. Once Donald Trump won, he got elbowed out by Elon Musk and others. And then he went on to announce, he said, look, I'm in a dirty sport, UFC. I mean, it's bloody, it's gory, people on the ground, you hit them, you try to kill them. There's all kinds of payoffs going on, all kinds of drugs being used. He goes, it's a dirty game that I oversee, UFC. But there's nothing dirtier than politics. Dana White said, I love Donald Trump. I'll be there for him, but I'll never be involved in politics again. And he was on the winning side. Because this is what they do. They constantly lie. It's backstabbing. You can't trust any of them. Their word is not their bond. Their word is not their bond. Let's go to Susan from upstate. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Susan.
Okay. Hey, great topic, and you're doing a great job with this. Hunter It is. They have the receipts in the Treasury Department that he has received funds from our arch enemy, China. They have the money that he got, as well as from Russia. Remember the mayor's wife there, the $3 million. And I think Rudy had already come up with an estimate of $30 million or more that they gave away Bagram Airport. They sold out our Afghanistan partners, all because that's what China wanted. He's a traitor. He's lucky. You know what? He should not be pardoned. And I'll tell you one thing. If Donald Trump, he may have said that, but he did not commit to that. And I'm sure that he would have. I would turn on Donald Trump, and I believe me, I'm in his court all the way. I like his personality. I like everything he's done. He's made a few little tiny mistakes, but he's so much better than anything that he's done wrong. So no pardon. This guy hopefully will be investigated, and Biden doesn't want him investigated because he's the big guy.
Exactly. He is Mr. Big. And remember, who is that? Bobolinsky, remember, told us that, Susan. Bobolinsky, and they made fun of Bobolinsky. Remember, I think Bobolinsky was from, the lady at Chesterhover, Doylestown. I think he was from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Remember, they made fun of him. They said, what would a guy with a name like Bobolinsky know? Remember?
I do, but that's all. You know what?
He was Hunter Biden. He was Hunter Biden's partner. He testified. Mm-hmm. He said, "Hey, we have to take care of Mr. Big," and Mr. Big, everybody knew, was the vice president of the United States, and they kept saying, the Democrats, "No, Mr. Big of Sex and the City." Man, they're getting away with this. People are not outraged. Susan was. We've had some others. It was his son. He stole millions. He ruined people's lives. They said that Trump, it was all disinformation. That none of that on the laptop was true. That it was part of the Russian attempt to affect our election outcome. Now, because of this, Julian Assange should be given a full pardon by Donald Trump. So should Snowden. Remember, who was hired by the National Security Agency. He was outsourced work to spy on Americans. And then James Clapper, clap on, clap off. Remember, he testified he was Obama's head of the National Security Agency. He swore under oath that no government agency spies on Americans.
Oh, that's funny.
And then Snowden, the whistleblower, came forward and said, yes, we do. Well, why do you say that, Mr. Snowden? Because I was contracted to do it along with my colleagues in our business. And then the guy had to flee to Russia. And then see, it's part of the Russian plot. No, the guy had no other choice. You were going to put him in Leavenworth with Julian Assange. This is what I want to see. Julian Assange. Remember, he was stuck in that embassy in Bolivia for like 10 years?
I think he had a cat for a period of time.
Yes, but then he also had visits from Miss Baywatch there.
Yeah, I probably like those visits better, I guess.
Oh, my God. He had conjugal visits. What was her name again?
Oh, Pamela Anderson.
That's right. Pamela Anderson was giving Julian Assange.
They were just friends, folks.
Conjugal visits in the Bolivian embassy where he was forced to live. If he stepped one foot outside, the CIA was going to arrest him, and then they hit him up with charges.
Well, you don't really have to go out, I guess, if you have visitors like that coming to see you, right?
Well, no, they claim that while in a hot tub in Stockholm, Sweden, he got a little frisky with some Swedish meatballs. They were going to charge him with rape. Julian Assange, when was he wrong? He was right. Hillary was dying 1,000 deaths because he got hold of her emails. And then remember, there were the emails on the laptop of our own colleague, Anthony Weiner.
I've heard of those.
Huma parked him there. And why the hell would she have parked him in Anthony Weiner's laptop?
She probably asked herself that question many, many times.
And then remember 2 weeks before the election in 2016. Democrats to this day. Hillary Rodham Clinton, you mentioned the name of James Comey. Curses, curses, curses. We are reopening the investigation on the emails on the server from the Love Shack in Chappaqua, the whitest and richest white suburb in America, where even the lawn jockeys are white. And to this day, Hillary says, my mission to become president was doomed.
Yeah, because she's horrible. That's exactly why.
Because of James Comey. Oh, my God.
Sometimes you just got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, girl.
Oh, my God. Let's go to Haleen from New York. Your turn to be heard here at WABC.
Curtis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is Eileen from Howard Beach. I heard it. I'm shaking like a leaf that he got a pardon. First, I want to say, Nancy, I'm glad you came home safe in that car.
Thank you.
I was very concerned about that. How could he do this? I'm retired law enforcement. My son, retired law enforcement, fought for this country in Iraq. And this guy, drug addict, naked in the laptop, and those 51 people that signed that form, Curtis, they still have that security. It should be pulled. I hope Trump pulls the security of those 51 people.
Oh, yeah, they will definitely do that. Now,
I'm law enforcement. I'm shaken. I'm literally shaken to see that this guy, Mr. Dementia, pardoned his son. And he's our president, and he has the football nuclear thing, and he pardons a druggie. You know what I always think? I always think of the Ukraine. There's more paperwork over there. That's why they gave all the money over there.
oh, yeah, that money, you just kiss that bye-bye. It's in the oligarchs' pockets. But also, the worst thing was when his good son, died of brain cancer, Hunter was having sex with his wife. Yeah!
Check this out. No one knows New York better. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa.
And you can't compete against that.
On 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
I get up around 7, get out of bed around 9, and I don't worry about nothing, no, because worrying's a waste of my time. So usually starts around 7, we go on stage around 9, get on the bus about 11, sipping a drink and feeling fine. We've been dancing with Mr. Brownstone. He's been knocking. He won't leave me alone. No. He won't leave me alone. I used to do a little, but a little wasn't doing, so the little got more and more. I just keep trying to get a little better, said a little better than before. I used to do a little, but a little wasn't doing, so the little got more and more. I just keep trying to get a little better, said a little better than before. We've been dancing with Mr. Brownstone. He's been knocking. He won't leave me alone. No. He won't leave me alone.
Mr. Brownstone. That's not the catering hall where Patterson meets Clifton. Infamous as it's been, Brownstone means heroin. So we go from one entitled druggie, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, to RFK's son, RFK Jr. And you probably are saying to yourself, what the hell is Sliwa doing comparing Hunter Biden to RFK Jr.? I mean, RFK Jr. has been nominated to become the head of the National Institute of Health. our new Dr. Fauci under President Donald Trump. Well, he said something 2 weeks ago on a podcast. We're going to play it momentarily. And hopefully his number one supporter will address it tonight, the Mameluke, Frank Morano, from the other side of midnight that goes coast to coast from 1 to 5, because he's been promoting the hell out of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But when I heard what he said, and before we go to that, everybody is lined up, all the Trumpers, all the MAGA people, all the Trump supporters. He gets to choose whoever he wants, and we're supposed to just roll over and not question Donald Trump. Well, guess what? I'm a free agent. I have my own mindset. Nobody owns my thinking process. This is America. And there has to be a confirmation process in the U.S. Senate for that position. And the people who have a right to know what this screwball, this crackpot, this druggie, RFK Jr. said just 2 weeks ago. But before you get there, Marsha Blackburn, U.S. Senator, came on with John Katz-Matidis, Rita Cosby, the 5 o'clock roundtable discussion, and basically lip-synced what so many others have said. Bill O'Reilly and others say, Trump won, he has a mandate, he should be able to get whoever he wants. No, that's not how this thing works.
The American people gave President Trump a mandate by delivering not only the Electoral College, but the popular vote to him. So it is imperative that we support him in his choices. People want to end 2 tiers of justice. They want to drain the swamp. They want for this government spending to be brought under control. They want to reduce the size and scope of the federal government.
Marsha, dear, Marsha. I want you all to listen to what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is saying. There is suppression of this out there, especially by what I'll call pro-Trump interests. Frank Morano, the Mameluke, Dominic Carter won't play this. Greg Kelly won't play this. Nobody at WABC will play this, although it's readily available for everyone to listen to and wonder what a screwball, what a crackpot this guy, RFK Jr., is. So he's sitting for a podcast, and he's talking about he was having a tough time in high school. He wasn't doing that well. And miraculously, idiot, he got into Harvard. How do you think he got in? It wasn't based on your marks, that's for sure, and your behavior. But he was a legacy entrant, and I wouldn't doubt the Kennedy clan sweetened up the chancellor there like Jeffrey Epstein used to sweeten up the chancellor and then be able to run around wearing his Crimson H, his Harvard jersey. Even though he never went to Harvard, he went to Brooklyn College. But he gave a lot of money to Harvard. Oh, we love the pedophile on the pedestal. Jeffrey Epstein. Yay, give us money. Fill up our endowment. Yay, Jeffrey. Don't worry. We've heard the rumors about you. We don't believe that. By the way, you got any room on the Lolita Express leaving from Teaneck Airport? I understand Pedophile Island is El Magnifico. And nobody is out there to check on what we're doing. So that just shows you the sanctimonious hypocrisy of people in power, where it's do as I say, but not as I do. With RFK Jr., he admitted on the podcast he was a horrible student in high school. He was an incalcitrant. He was a juvenile delinquent, a truant. He abused teachers. He abused fellow students. Everybody's going to make excuses for that behavior. Oh, you remember his uncle was assassinated. His father was assassinated. Yeah, I get that. And then somehow he got into Harvard and he was at the bottom of his class. And he found a miracle way to go right to the top.
Was it through studying?
Well, yes, it was through studying, but he had a aide, not a teacher's aide, not a tutor, but he said he discovered that there was this drug out there, not Adderall, not Ritalin, not speed, not mescaline. But there was a drug out there that actually enhanced his ability to study and, in fact, took him into the top tier of his class in Harvard.
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly I could sit still and I could read.
I'm not a good judge of this, Nancy. I just deal with dope fiends in the streets. But you actually went to a very prestigious college, Stony Brook, SUNY College. Got to have good marks. Brooklyn Law, you passed the law bar. I'm sure you knew of a lot of fellow students that used all different kinds of remedies.
I've never heard of such things.
What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wrong question. Go ahead.
When they had to binge study, when they had to basically study till the break of dawn.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What would they use to enhance their abilities?
Well, I mean, nothing illicit, but, certainly a lot of coffee and things of that nature. I can't say I've ever heard of anyone suggesting heroin to stay up. I'm not really sure that works, but that would be a new one for me. I've never heard of that one.
Could I hear, again, this is just 2 weeks ago on a podcast. It's not 20 years ago, 10 years ago. You might have said, well, that was then, this is now. He's mature. He's 70.
Yeah.
He's a 70-year-old man.
So this is a lifetime of reflection has given him this.
That heroin aided and abetted him and took him from the bottom of his class in Harvard.
Maybe it wasn't heroin. Maybe the dealer was joking with him. It was just totally something else.
Parmesan cheese, right? Oregano. He was smoking weed.
There's always
oregano.
that possibility. We really don't know.
Oh, God. Why? Gee, they didn't have fentanyl then. If they had fentanyl, Robert Kennedy Jr., you would have had, a perfect score.
Well, and he's not saying he does it now, right? He's saying he did it back then for a period of time.
In school, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So maybe he was totally incorrect about what he had. Someone told him that's what it was, and he never did it again. I'm fairly sure if he did it today, he'd realize it was something very different than what he remembered.
I wouldn't bet on that. In his own words, 2 weeks ago, it's Robert Kennedy Jr. because of the problems that he has with his voice. He doesn't mind telling the world, for everyone to hear, if your marks are bad in school, forget the tutor. Forget a teacher's aide. Forget Ritalin, Adderall. Forget cocaine, speed. I mean, just go mainline, man. Okay, maybe you don't want to use the needle. You don't want to chip, Nancy. You don't want to chip. You can smoke heroin or you can sniff it. But it generally causes you to, zone out.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what he describes, and they want him to get confirmed by the U.S. Senate to be the head of the National Institute of Health? The new Dr. Fauci?
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly I could sit still and I could read.
And he's saying he did that during law school. Is that correct?
No, I think that was in Harvard.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And I'm pretty sure that even the way
he failed the bar a few times and finally passed it. They were dragging him out of dope houses and covering up for him in East Harlem until finally one cop said, enough is enough. We're not covering up for you. We're arresting black and Hispanics and white guys here who are in a shooting gallery. I don't care if your name is Kennedy. Book them, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the way grades work, too, in Harvard, it's not as though you can slide for a couple semesters and then all of a sudden become straight A. You've already lost that traction. So, yeah, I think he's remembering everything wrong here.
Well, let's go beyond that, Nancy. This is more than just legacy. This is money.
Yeah.
And the Kennedys got a lot of inherited money from old Joe, the bootlegger.
Mm-hmm.
Old Joe had the casting couch because he owned a movie company.
Oh, no.
Old Joe, who would do anything for his sons, include pay a ghostwriter to write profiles in courage that JFK, when he was going to Harvard, won a Pulitzer Prize for.
Mm.
Never wrote a word in that book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
covered up the fact that Ted Kennedy had cheated in Harvard and got kicked out. Thank God somebody had the coolions to kick him out. And it didn't surface till he ran for the U.S. Senate seat in 1962 of his his uncle, who had a temporary placement in. The governor had put a temporary in until there could be a election to fill the seat of JFK, who had become the president. Yeah. And so then he was running against one of the lodges, Henry Cabot Lodge. In fact, Roger Stone was talking about one of the Lodge brothers. It was like Kennedy's versus Lodges. You know, the old pristine Connecticut Lodges versus the Massachusetts Kennedys. They constantly did that. Yeah, and Joe and his legacy and his fortune once he died would be used to cover up anything that the Kennedys did. So RFK Jr. actually believes that it was heroin that enabled him to do well on tests.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely not buying that whatsoever. So yeah, maybe it's possible that because he was so quiet, like I know that it's a little bit of a depressant, so maybe he was quiet in the corner and the teachers were happy, so they just gave him an A because he wasn't talking no more.
Well, he had a spike in his arm.
Yeah, like leave him alone, just give him an A and just keep it moving.
Nodding out on the desk. Yeah. Professor probably said, grade him 100 because the Kennedy family has made a very good donation to the endowment.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the donations would go up if you have a straight A student as opposed to like if you just let him slide but you give him like a C, you're probably not getting as much money, so he needs to be like an A student.
But he actually is delusional enough to believe it was the heroin that enabled him to go from last in his class to first in his class.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, I definitely would not suggest that as a route.
Now you would think, even if he believed that at that time, that's a long time ago. He's 70 now.
Yeah,
that he would say, "I thought that was the case at the time, but I have seen the debilitating effects of heroin, what it's done to people." How it's driven them to go out and shoplift and steal and even rob from their own mothers. I had money because I'm a Kennedy. You know, let's face it, they never had to work a day in their life. They just lived off of the largesse of the family. Instead of saying, I'm going to be saying this as a well-known figure embraced by Donald Trump now with the logo, we're going to make America healthier again. But I'm talking about using heroin to do better in school when you're not doing well. Do you know how many people are going to try that crap?
I hope not.
But you know some will.
Yeah.
They say, well, it worked for Kennedy. Look, he's the head of the National Institute of Health. Does it get any better? And he was a dope fiend for 13 years. Others would get locked up over and over, but he was a Kennedy.
And it was heroin that he was on?
Heroin.
Dang.
Stone cold junkie. He had what the Baywatch gal had, was visiting Julian Assange.
Pamela Anderson?
Pamela Anderson had hepatitis C. I don't know how she had it. I don't think she had it from shooting drugs. I think she caught it from having sex with somebody who had hepatitis C. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has hepatitis C. See?
Wait, what?
Why is it that Curtis knows all of this, right? I'm the high school dropout here. I got kicked out because I listen, I study, I'm a free agent, and I don't drink the Kool-Aid. This guy should not be the head of the National Institute of Health for a wide variety of reasons. But this disqualifies him right here. This disqualifies him. And if there's anybody out there who would like to explain why they should not disqualify him, saying this 2 weeks ago, I expect Dominic to address it. He won't. Frank Morano to address it. He won't. Oh, maybe Sid will. Brian Kilmeade? No, he won't. Greg Kelly, absolutely not. Let's see. James Golden, no. Nobody. I'm the one who's brought this up for a week now. You don't hear it anywhere else. It's his own words. Has he been asked to address it? Has any reporter said, Mr. Kennedy, you want to amend this? Maybe you want to add an addendum like, heroin kills. Don't do what I did.
Don't try this at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With a spike in his arm for 15 freaking years. And the only reason he wasn't in Rikers, he didn't go upstate, was because his name was Kennedy. Let's be real here. He was given every break in the world. And in having gotten every break in the world because of his name, the worst thing he could do is do an interview. And basically, it's almost like he was like in a flashback mode. Heroin was so great. Look at what it did for me. It took me from last to first in my grades. So Hunter Biden is a dirtbag. We wouldn't even consider him for a position in government. I'm not going to put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in that category. But the head of the National Institute of Health? Are you people out of your freaking minds? 1-800-848-9222.
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly I could sit still and I could read.
WABC. New York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one
Jim Morrison.
remembers your name.
Both Nancy and I, we love the Doors. We love Jim Morrison. We've seen the documentaries that they did, which are outstanding. But the guy was a chipper. The guy used heroin. And he ended up ODing on heroin. Like so many have. This is nothing to fool around with and talk about how it benefited you being, chipping away, injecting heroin. He probably was doing it in the class. And they just ignored him because they were getting paid. They were getting a lot of money. Hey, look, let's just boost his numbers. But for him to say that, and then to be considered the head of the National Institute of Health, boy, that disqualifies you. Let's go to Peter in Long Island. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Peter.
Curtis, how are you, Curtis? I just want you to know, first of all, I voted for you for mayor last time and I'm going to vote for you again. I think you're going to be one of the modern greats when you do become mayor. But I got to disagree with you, Curtis, what you're saying about RFK there. I mean, here's a guy who won against his family, won against his party. I got to fact check, this. I just can't believe he said that stupid thing. If he did say it,
Whoa. If he did say that, clean the wax out of your ears. I know you believe in Camelot and Kennedys can do no wrong.
No. I don't believe in Camelot.
All right, I want you to listen. You know he has a very distinguishing voice because of his speech problem.
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly I could sit still and I could read.
Is that him, Peter?
It sounds like him, Curtis, but I got to fact check this. How come the Pew viewers are talking about this?
Whoa. You got to fact check it. Play it again, Sam. Play it again.
I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly I could sit still and I could read.
Peter, that's him. That's not artificial intelligence.
What other guy is talking about helping us the way he's, this here, ideas he has about, getting the poisons out of the food and killing our kids. And who else is talking about that? If he does half the things he's going to say, he's saying it.
Well, do you think, Peter, before we encourage the Senate to confirm him, that he be forced to clean up what he said there?
Absolutely, yes. But do you trust the judgment of Donald Trump? Let me ask you that.
I don't trust any man or woman's judgment. That's why we have a process in the U.S. Senate called confirmation. We don't have kings and queens. We don't have deities. Donald Trump is a human being like you who is prone to make mistakes like anyone else. And if you think he can't make mistakes, well, then there's something wrong with you.
No, Curtis, that's not nice. You know, I truly believe that under Donald Trump's thumb, he's going to do as much as he can to help us and keep us healthy.
Excuse me, who was his choice for Attorney General?
Excuse me?
Who was his original choice for Attorney General?
I don't know.
You don't know. Matt Gaetz? Matt? Hey, I love jailbait Gaetz.
Well, you know, who he settled with is what's important.
No. That was a mistake, right, Peter?
Well, I don't think so.
Oh,
No,
you don't think so? Why did he resign? Why did he say, no, forget it?
I'm just talking about RFK, you know.
Oh, I see. We're talking about how human beings make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
Well, we could go down. We could come up with 1,000 scenarios.
Exactly, and that's why you have a confirmation process. It's called the checks and balances in government. We have it here in America. Most other countries don't have that.
Exactly, but
if RFK Jr., because there are a majority of the U.S. Senate are Republicans, if he can get the required majority, he will be the head of the National Institute of Health, whether I like it or not. I'm just suggesting there are other men and women far more qualified than Robert F. Kennedy Jr., especially after that disqualifying statement. And again, nobody here at WABC will bring that up. They won't, because they want to protect him. They don't want to alienate Trump. God, we can't say anything against Trump. No. Hey, you know, our team. I hear that term here. Our team. Since when is it our team? This is a talk radio program. You know how boring the next 4 years are going to be in talk radio? You can't criticize Donald Trump. No, he's our guy. It's our team. What team? I didn't know that I signed up at WABC. I'm on a team, a Republican team or a Democratic team. How about a free-thinking, free agent team where I think for myself? That's what you can do in America. I hear that all the time. Our guys, our team. I never knew we were a team. Isn't it in the contract that I signed? You are on the Republican team. Whatever they do, if it's bad, you don't bring it up. If it's good, you're a good news bear. Matt Gaetz, he disqualified himself. He knew. He knew. RFK Jr. could do us all a favor, either clean this mess up that he created or find a new opportunity to challenge authority, which he's become known to do. And now he'll be challenging the authority of whomever Donald Trump replaces him with. Life will go on. Somehow we will become a healthier America without RFK Jr. Not really. Not when you look at how we're going. Oh, by the way, the drug that people are using to lose weight now, Nancy?
I think that's Ozempic.
Ozempic. Now, I don't declare myself to be an expert. I don't think RFK Jr. is an expert on it. He has problems with it. Others don't. That's the kind of debates we should be having, because I don't like seeing people heavy if they don't want to be heavy. And if there's a method for them to lose weight, which will probably lead to them having less problems, why shouldn't we make it available? But I don't declare myself to be an expert on that. I'd like to hear all different sides on that.
I don't know, but I've seen the people who are taking Ozempic. I didn't realize they were until I'm like, wait, what's wrong with these people? I definitely I think there should be a lot more looking into this before they start, prescribing it for something as, with all due respect, as mediocre as weight loss, because that can be handled much more, on a personal note. Like, you can do things.
Right, but see, that is a good debate point.
Yeah.
Heroin? I don't think there's any debate about heroin. It ain't good for you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a crazy thing though, because the Ozempic. I mean, think how many people are being lured with the mystique of, oh, you could just be skinny. Like that's almost one of the main things people like. Oh, just automatically skinny. But I think that they're getting a lot of people hooked on this drug, and I think there is a lot of debate to be had about that.
Right, but the point being is, let's have debates about it. Let men and women who have studied this get up, debate it. I'm sure some of them are for its use to lose weight. Others are going to say, no, it was devised to deal with diabetes. Mm-hmm. That's the way it should be used. I'd like to hear different points of view. I don't know. To be honest, I've seen the results. We have the guardian angel, Raven. I saw him. He is a diabetic. How did you lose all that weight? He lost about half his weight. He was looking real good. He said, I use that Ozempic. Mm. It's obviously being used for not just people who are diabetic. Yeah. It's being used for dramatic weight loss.
Yeah, I mean, and then, all right, the other problem, too, is like the amount of money that it is with the insurance. So your insurance is covering it, but it's a crazy price.
Right, but you see, all of it, the public should be aware of. The good, the bad, the ugly. Lay it all out there. I trust people. I don't trust politicians. And if you make the choice to use it, as long as you know the ramifications, well, then you're making that choice.
Well, then, I guess then theoretically, couldn't the same thing be said with heroin?
Exactly, except I don't know of anybody who has prospered with heroin.
Well, no, neither do I. But then again, right, he didn't actually promote it. He just was almost like telling like a war story. Hey, back in the day, it helped me.
Wait a second. Hold on. Now I got another one here. Let me hear him again describe how he went from last to first in his class.
And I was at the bottom of my class. I started doing heroin. I went to the top of my class. Suddenly I could sit still and I could read.
You did a lot of studying to pass the law boards with a lot of your colleagues. You went to Stony Brook, not an easy school to get through. A lot of those Chinese kids from the mainland, they're good. They have to be good. They don't have a choice. Do you ever remember anybody when they were studying, either snorting the heroin, smoking the heroin, or injecting it?
I didn't know people like that at all.
Oh, I do.
They weren't in school, I can tell you that much.
Well, some people will claim to be functioning heroin addicts.
Really?
Yes. Huh. I've yet to meet one, but there are those out there who claim they know of functioning heroin addicts.
So it's almost like Sasquatch, like someone heard about someone who knows it,
well,
seen it.
No, what they say is, and again, I've never met anybody that can prove that to me, where they'll work a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week and then they'll chip on the weekend.
Well, maybe they're so good you don't even notice it.
I notice a lot of heroin users. You know right away. You're with the dragon. You're flying with the dragon. That's what it's called.
Well, that's what kind of, to me, what the Ozempic users look like. Like, they look like there's something very wrong with them. And now that I realize that's what the commonality is, I absolutely think we really need to be rethinking this Ozempic usage.
Right, but you see, this is recent. So it requires a lot of study, debate. Yeah. People are using it. Some are benefiting, some are not benefiting. We don't know what the long-term effects are, that's for sure.
Yeah, we don't.
Our number is 1-800-848-9222.
WABC. Check this out. No one knows New York better. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa.
And you can't compete against that.
On 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
I don't trust anybody.
Hold on a second, Genesis. I don't know if you can say that. No fun being an illegal alien.
If you're a single adult man, you're going to come here to this facility starting tomorrow.
When migrants first walk in after intake, they will see a recreational room set up with rows of couches, TVs, Xboxes, and board games. There will also be a phone bank so migrants can connect with family in order to find more permanent housing.
We can do that in 24 hours, maybe even less. Many times, it's going to take longer than that. It could take days.
Next, there is a cafeteria that will provide migrants with 3 meals a day, and snacks, coffee, and tea will be available 24/7.
Those meals are all culturally appropriate. It is South American fare. The menu rotates on a regular basis.
So I think I have a problem with Genesis. It's no fun being an illegal alien. You get everything free. Plus, you can augment your income. A side hustle is you're a courier, you're a mule, you're bringing heroin across the border, Molly, ecstasy, oxys, pills galore, and fentanyl. Now, for a long time, fentanyl would be manufactured in plants in Red China, shipped to Guadalajara, other locations in Mexico, and then muled across the border, either stored in 18-wheel tractor trailers that would come across the bridge. The largest trucking area of import into the United States is from Nuevo Laredo into Laredo. You can see the 18-wheel tractor trailers as far as the eye can see. It used to be the Mexican drivers would drive it up to the border. They would unhook the cab, and then a teamster from America would bring its truck in, put it on the nipple. It would carry the cargo the rest of the way, and then NAFTA had changed that. So now you could be a driver in Mexico and drive the rig all the way to your part of departure. And boy, the drugs are flowing in. Except now the Mexicans have cut out the middle guy, Red China. They cut out President Xi. What's on second? I don't know what's on third. They have recruited chemists from around the world, the narco-terrorists, and they are now manufacturing the fentanyl themselves and transporting it with the illegal aliens as mules into the United States. So one less group of people to pay. I'm sure when Donald Trump gets sworn in on the 20th and he has his first meeting, probably at Mar-a-Lago with President Xi, like he had the last time when they were sitting down for Donald Trump's favorite chocolate cake for dessert. And he said to President Xi, "I'll be back, Mr. President. I just got to go bomb Syria." And then he came back 20 minutes later, and apparently Xi was like, "Man, you don't want to mess with this SOB. Hey, how'd you like the chocolate cake?" That's great stuff. But fentanyl now is being produced in Mexico, in the jungles of Mexico, and it is being transported to the border. And the human mules are bringing it over, and they have it hidden in trucks. That's why there are such huge delays when coming in from Mexico. Going into Mexico, there's nobody there. The federales, they just wave you in. They want you spending money. But once you come back, sometimes you're waiting online for miles, coming in from Tijuana into the San Ysidro Canyons, coming over the bridge in Juarez into El Paso. Miles, because they're checking everything, because they know it's not just human trafficking and sex trafficking. They're drogas. So now, when we see our fellow Americans passing out and dying from fentanyl overdose, close to 100,000 average a year, we may no longer be able to blame mainland China, because the Mexicans have finally decided we're going to keep all the droga money for ourselves. By the way, a few other points about RFK Jr., who has been nominated by President Donald Trump to become the next head of the National Institute of Health. He claims that he has a dead worm, a gusano, in his brain. A dead worm.
And yet he still functions.
He still functions, although he did admit that for a period of time, about 6 months, he had short-term memory loss because of the worm.
No, I think that's smoking.
The gusano.
I don't think so.
It turned out, though, he had some tests, and he was into a new regimen at the time, just eating fish, morning, noon, and night. He was binging on fish. He was having his fish tuna in the morning, tuna in the afternoon, tuna at night, nothing else. And he was the guy who was concerned about mercury in the vaccines, which is a concern because mercury is a killer. Except fish have a lot of mercury.
That's true.
So he was having all kinds of problems with what he thought was a worm in his brain. And doctors told him, no, man, you're suffering mercury poisoning. How the hell did you get mercury poisoning? What have you been eating? And he says, I'm on a regimen. I'm eating tuna in the morning, tuna casserole in the afternoon, and starfish, tuna fish at night. He said, well, that's where you're getting the mercury from, 10 times the normal level. He had to go through a year worth of chelation to get all the lead out of his blood. This is not the guy that I want in charge of the National Institute of Health. Then he was asked, how did you, Mr. Kennedy, how did you get that worm in your brain?
That's a great question.
He said it came from eating pork overseas.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
Wait, how did he even know that?
Well, he knows everything.
See, that's why he's the head of the FDA right there.
Could you do me a favor, Matt, since you primarily are assigned to the Mama Luke, Frank Morano, the other side of midnight, who went out there and collected signatures for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to run for president, extolled his virtues, talks to him apparently on occasion. You ask him about all this? Like, what happened to the worm in his brain? Did it just decide to vacate? This guy's a screwball, a crackpot, a nut job. Our number's 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to my namesake, Curtis in New Jersey. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Curtis.
Hey, Curtis, I love you. Nancy, you must be a saint. But I wanted to say that the RFK Jr., that was on the Sean Ray podcast, I believe, and he was talking about how drugs ruined his life. So I think that's slightly out of context, but you're 100% right. He's got to clear that up, and he never should have talked about heroin. But going back to Hunter Biden, I got to know why there were 9 family members that were on the payroll. We got to follow the money. Kash Patel's the guy to do that. And one last thing is you mentioned Bo as being the good son. Bo was the guy that prosecuted the individual that came out and said there was some kind of homosexual activity with Obama, and they went after the guy in Delaware for that.
I understand, but come on, you're killing the narrative here. Come on, Curtis. You know, Bo was the good son. Hunter was the bad son. Cain and Abel. You're ruining this. It's Old Testament, Curtis.
Yeah, but we got all bad kids there.
No, I know, but look, he was better than the others. Come on, give that to Bo.
He was more successful.
Yeah, and by the way, this degenerate Hunter snacking on his wife, the widow.
Oh, terrible.
And what is he going to do? Blame the crack? Is he going to blame the drugs? Or is he just a total degenerate?
Definitely a total degenerate. That laptop has the pictures to prove it. They got to get that out. It's a terrible situation.
Well, you see what Rudy consistently said, since he had access. He's the one who picked up the 2 laptops. There were actually 2 laptops that Hunter had left at the Fix-It shop. He picked it up with Bernard Carrick. Rudy says that there are pictures of underage girls that he's involved with that they will not release.
Yep.
And I think we have a right to know. Because
I think when Trump and Joe sat down, I think Trump said to him, I'm not going to let your kid off. And I think that's why he had to pardon him.
No, I think what's happened is that Trump wanted to pardon him to show that let bygones be bygones. You know, let's try to heal the. But he started to see Bondi, Attorney General, Kash Patel, FBI, they all have a grudge against what Hunter and Joe Biden did. So I think he recognized that, hey, the best intentions of Donald Trump, because he knows Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to do what the last person in the room talks to him about doing. You know, that's how Trump is. He can flip the script.
Yep, true.
So I think what he decided was, I'm not going to take any chance that Donald Trump is going to do what it was thought publicly he would do, that upon being sworn into office, maybe not the next day or that same day, but at some early time, he would pardon Hunter Biden on the charges, the gun charge and the tax evasion charge. To me, I consider those the lesser of the charges. We know he stole millions of dollars. Burisma, he was on the board of a Ukrainian energy company who knew nothing about energy. He was there because he had access to Mr. Big, his dad. Bobolinsky. I mean, people need to apologize to Bobolinsky. I remember even I made fun. I said, what kind of a guy's name is Bobolinsky? And he looked like a cartoon character, too. He's a big guy, you know. Oh, yeah, I was partners with Hunter, and Hunter would say, we got to run this by Mr. Big. And Bobolinsky said Mr. Big was the sitting vice president, Joe Biden, and everybody made fun of him, including me. Not what he said, but I said, what kind of a guy is named Bobolinsky, who I think came from Doylestown, Pennsylvania? Could you check on that, please, Nancy? Do a fact check. I don't know, Lady of Chesterhover, the Black Madonna, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. I'm thinking Bobolinsky. What a name. Man. Let's go to Lauren, who's calling from New Jersey. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Lauren.
Curtis and Nancy. Hello.
Hello.
Well, RFK was not promoting the use of heroin. He stated that, and then he went on to explain how it basically, you know, how it ruined his life, how it ruined his relationships, how it, you know, it just took him down this terrible spiral, and then he finally had to get clean and get sober. So, but it is true, you know, micro doses of certain compounds will cause the exact opposite reaction. Do you know about homeopathy?
Yes.
Yeah, likes curing likes. So something that would cause something for something to happen, you give it to reverse a condition that is present in it. But it's like at the molecular level. But again, he wasn't promoting it.
Well, when you say that your grades, you were at the bottom of your class, and let's face it, we know why he got into Harvard. It wasn't because he was a good student in high school. He was a truant. Right. The family bought his way into Harvard. He was doing lousy. He's shooting up heroin. You know he didn't do well in class. You know that. And the family just probably increased their donations to the endowment or whatever special cause the professor in that class had, and they boosted his number. He should know that. Right. Well, you know, Curtis, that a lot of us, most of us, say something, and it's not the most intelligent, rational thing to say at the moment. And you know, we could be the most intelligent person, but we'll say something, and we really shouldn't have said it, but then we go on to explain it. And again, like here it is being, you know, I'm not saying just you, but the mainstream media will focus in on something and like blow it up. To be honest with you, they're not focusing on this, Lauren. I am. Okay, well, like I've read extensively the major periodicals that are critical of him, which is the New York Times. And they have not brought this up. They brought up other things like deaths in Samoa as a result of what he was advising the people to do. And that is true. He needs to clean that up. But this is a statement where if you're a young person and somebody tells you, hey, look, the head of the National Institute of Health says he used heroin and it took him from last to first in his class, that stuff's going to get around quick. and you need to clean that up.
Right. Well, he definitely shouldn't have said it.
But I think he believes that. I really do. Rather than being smart and knowing, well, my family took me from last to first by making a donation to the endowment and taking care of the professor's favorite charity or whatever he was into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. There is nobody who functions on heroin and goes from last to first. Come on.
Yeah, well, I can't explain that, but a different subject. But you see how much money is spent on these elections. Can you imagine how many fur babies could have been rescued, saved, treated with those billions of dollars that are spent on elections? I mean, it is so revolting, isn't it?
Well, not only is it revolting, Lauren, but it really doesn't move the needle much. If you notice, it doesn't. This election came about because Joe Biden basically melted. And then you had Kamala, who came in for a sprint. It was not a full election for her. And the Democrats weren't happy because they didn't get a chance to vote for a nominee. So the Democrats have only themselves to blame because they should have swapped out Biden a hell of a lot earlier, and they should have had some form of a primary.
Right. Well, most big donors are giving so that, they get something in return, right? But, everyone is just so, unfortunately, well, not everyone, but many people are so misguided. Instead of taking that money and doing something so incredibly worthwhile with it. And I just heard about this pardoning, so I don't know all the details there, but that also is revolting. And I just, for the life of me, I mean, seriously, we're going to have to stand for that?
Well, look, this is called entitlement. They take it is a privilege that comes with the presidency, and they abuse it. Like JFK abused the privilege of appointing his own brother, his attorney general, RFK. That was an outrage. You're elected the president of the United States, and you appoint your fixer, your brother, as the attorney general, the father of RFK Jr. That was his role, fixing stuff that JFK was messing up on. He didn't want a normal attorney general in there. No. He needed his brother to clean up his mess. Let's go to Ted calling from Texas. Your turn to be heard here at WABC, Ted.
Hey, good evening, Curtis and Nancy from the Great Lone Star State. I'm a fellow animal lover down here, but I wanted to continue with the RFK conversation. I personally feel the good he brings to the table outweighs the negative aspects. And if you go back in time when Roosevelt was president, he needed a hardcore head of the SEC. And the name he got was Joseph Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s grandfather. And he said, that guy's a rascal. I mean, why do I want him in there? Because he'd been a corporate raider and done all kinds of things during Prohibition, apparently. But, the statement was, who better to guard the chicken coop than a fox? And I think some of the backstory with Kennedy, some of the things he said, you could clean it up. But a guy that's had that experience and has come out on the other end successfully, I think he has something to add.
Well, Sid Rosenberg, who is our expert on everything involving Botox and steroids, believes that RFK Jr. at 70, that's not a natural look. In fact, listen to what Sid had to say about the look that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has at the age of 70.
Isn't it funny that RFK, who does look amazing, guy's got the best body for a man his age I've ever seen, and I'm in pretty good shape, but he puts more chemicals in his body than anyone you know. He's roided out of his face, and yet he's out there going to talk about what chemicals you should or shouldn't put in your body?
Ted, who's an expert?
Yes.
That's Sid Rosenberg. He's used roids, and he uses Botox.
Well, let me ask Nancy a question from a fellow attorney. So, Nancy, do you think if you put RFK Jr. on the stand, he could tell a compelling story to a jury to sell himself as to why he would do a good job given the state of health and health care in the United States, particularly coming off the heels of, the pandemic? I would love the guy as a witness. What do you think?
I mean, I think he certainly could be. I mean, I'm all for really dismantling the FDA structure in general, because when you look at the sort of like the body of sort of health that they suggest to the country at large, I mean, they're clearly speaking on behalf of their interest. I mean, there's no reason that they should be sort of keeping silent on so many things. And like I said, unfortunately, so much of it just comes from the food that people eat. So the reason like all these like health problems happen, I'm definitely for, calling out who's responsible. The FDA is supposed to be the safeguard. They're letting so many things pass. I agree with dismantling it.
I think that that's what the confirmation hearings will bring forward. If RFK Jr. continues to be the choice of Donald Trump to be the head of the National Institute of Health, he'll have his opportunity. Some of these senators are going to come at him hard. Some of the Republican senators, because they've been asked to protect him by Donald Trump, will do that. And we'll have a chance to have a lot of this sorted out and hear ourselves what exactly he intends on doing, what his opinions are. But I got to tell you, it's certainly a mixed bag when it comes to RFK Jr. When a guy like Sid Rosenberg, who's used roids and Botox, says he's roided up, trust me, he's roided up.